Hi, my name is Margaret Katanga, and today we'll be talking about conflict prevention and reduction. First, the definitions. Conflict prevention is one, direct conflict prevention. These are measures that are aimed at preventing short term and often forthcoming escalation of potential conflict. Then, structural conflict prevention, which focuses on more long term measures that address the underlying causes of a potential conflict along with possible escalating factors. Then, definition of conflict reduction. Conflict reduction refers to measures that are put in place to mitigate the effect or effects of an already existing conflict. Let's look at a story that will put everything in context. Tom and Jenny work at an artificial flower shop and they're both in the structural production area. So Tom shares with Jenny that his concern is on several occasions he observed that she does not turn off the cutting machine before she leaves work. He says that in the mornings when it's his turn on the machine, he finds the machine slow and needs rebooting, which wastes time and affects his output. Since they are paid piece wage, this affects his salary. Jenny is very offended that her longtime friend can confront her and point out her mistake. In her defense, she thought that the janitor is supposed to turn off all the machines and lights after clearing each office. Tom doesn't want to out his friend by informing their supervisor. Management would consider such a careless act as a major wastage of resources, electricity, and it would reflect poorly on Jenny on her ability to steward organizational resources. Unfortunately, since they work closely together, their failure to resolve the conflict affects their overall performance. Jenny, who is usually upbeat and excited at work, starts to have a somber attitude, while Tom, who has always been quiet but pleasant, is now seemingly oblivious of his environment and shuts out everyone. Over time, the tension between them grows and it's noticeable by other workers who begin to avoid them as much as possible. So let's look at the conflict prevention techniques managers can use in a workplace. One is the emphasis of organization-wide goals and effectiveness. If larger goals are emphasized, employees are more likely to see the big picture and work together to achieve corporate goals. The organization should talk about the vision and the goal over and over again in team meetings, pointing out why each team member is critical to achieve their vision. Tom and Jenny will know this and they will know better than to just let a conflict affect their willingness to cooperate and produce results. Two is providing stable, well-structured tasks. When work activities are clearly defined, understood, and accepted by employees, conflict prevention would be very, very possible. So management can give a detailed task structure during Jenny's orientation on how the cutting machine functions and include her responsibility to turn it off after her session. This can be part even of the appraisal. She should be made aware of this expectation. Then conflict reduction techniques that managers can use in a workplace. One is physical separation or rotation of members. So separation is useful when conflicting groups are not working on a joint task, or do not need a high degree of interaction. The new group's acceptance can motivate one to change attitude and behavior. In our case, management can separate Tom and Jenny, make them work different shifts such that the work environment is no longer toxic and both can be more productive. Also, Jenny can be rotated and taken to a different department. And Jenny's rotation to a new group will help her to appreciate that others are responsibly turning off the machine and that they value the company resources and are more open to feedback and correction. Another way of reducing conflict is use of rules and regulations. Conflicts can also be reduced through the increasing specification of rules and regulations and procedures. So management can set a rule that everyone who completes using the cutting machine, or any machine for that matter, must turn it off. There can also be consequences for failure to do so. My references are as below. Thank you so much.